If you look across the Palouse, Northeast Oregon, many stretches across the Northwest, the wheat harvest is ready to begin, if it hasn't already started. And while harvest may be front and center right now, Salois, director of research for the McGregor Company, says it's also important for growers to be thinking about planting later this fall. She recently sat down with the PNW Ag Network's Michael McDonald.
Absolutely. So what we should be thinking about in the fall is really how we get the best start for that crop. So what we should be thinking about right now is remembering some of the McGregor Yield 3D framework in the start, feed, finish. So how do we focus on each yield component as it relates to your farm? And how do we get the best yield maximizing potential out of each one of those yield components? So what leads to a good start? Many people think of things like weed control, field preparation, picking the right varieties, setting ourselves up for success with the appropriate planting date. But where my head goes to is developing resilience in our cropping strategies with things like how do we encourage vertical root development and early season vigor. And a topic I hope to get to cover maybe on a different interview is how important seed place phosphorus is to encouraging vertical root development. It really is one of our number one tools. But outside of phosphorus placement, using something like an appropriate biostimulant to the start of the year can really develop, the start of the planting season can really develop those resilient traits in vertical root development and early season vigor. So biostimulants have become this huge buzzword in our industry. And this segment of product growth is scheduled to increase right at $1 billion over the next 5 years. So getting that right biostimulant is fairly critical to how we can increase productivity on the farm. Biostimulants trigger natural processes in the plant. So that's what those plants do already. And they make processes happen either better or more efficiently or happen under a stress response. And that is really one of the keys that we found in our research program. So reducing the negative response to abiotic or environmental stresses and building resilience into that farming practice. So if we go back to that Yield 3D start component and that the yield components associated with the start, what abiotic stresses tend to compound negative effects to that crop all season long. And what we did is kind of went back and thought, what environmental triggers or stresses do we nearly always have at the start phase or the plants per acre phase of that yield component. And what we came up with is nearly always some extreme in temperature, so either very warm or very cold, or at extreme in moisture stress, either too much of it or not enough. So we went and sourced biostimulants and screened a ton of biostimulants that do one of those two things. So if you think about Seed Start Zeus, we had a Seed Start Zinc, which is our microfuse technology that provides a really large dose of zinc that can be seed applied. We took the biostimulants that we developed through that screening process, added those to our Seed Start Zinc, and developed a product called Seed Start Zeus. So it combines that zinc with critical root building biostimulants that trigger that bigger vertical root development earlier on in the season. And we get that nice early season vigor that we see with zinc combined with that critical root building factor with that biostimulant component. So that unique seed applied zinc with that biostimulant is Seed Start Zeus, and we're seeing an acceleration of germination, increased survivability throughout the winter, and all positive effects on that plants per acre or start yield components. So we really are able to see those stronger stands right from the start with Seed Start Zeus.
Again, with the McGregor Company, Director of Research, Salois, with us. Now, you kind of teased us a little bit about the phosphorus and the proximity to the seed when you get started. Maybe we can touch on that just a little bit. What does that do to the seed to have phosphorus available to it?
There's been research, and actually research out of WSU, that shows that banded phosphorus encourages vertical root development, where banded nitrogen encourages horizontal root development. So we really do need to think about what limiting factor we're trying to go after. In a dryland cropping scenario, it's nearly always moisture, right? So we want to try to get those roots as deep as possible, as quick as possible. And phosphorus, and more specifically access to highly available phosphorus, is one of the number one tools we have in encouraging that vertical root development.
All right, where can we find more information about the phosphorus and also the Seed Start Zeus?
Well, Seed Start Zeus is a little unique. You can ask any of your local seed warehouses. They all have access to Seed Start Zeus. You can also contact a McGregor branch and a McGregor account manager for Seed Start Zeus. The products with highly available phosphorus is Kickstarter and our Imstruct. Any of our McGregor account managers can help you with the Kickstarter and Imstruct.
Excellent. With the McGregor Company, again, Kat Salois, Director of Research. Thank you for being with us on the PNW Ag Network, Kat.
Yes, thanks for having us, and I hope that start, feed, finish really rings true for a lot of our harvest. I hope we're seeing excellent finishes to those crops right now.